I'm not gonna lie, I only watched the show for Anne and Gilbert. Hi angels, welcome back to my channel. I've heard of Anne with an E before, but I never really was interested in watching it. However, around a month ago, I finally decided to give it a chance and I really liked it. Part of the reason why I decided to watch it was because of the Anne and Gilbert edits that I saw on TikTok, and I kind of accidentally spoiled the show for myself. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you all about it, from the things that I absolutely hated to the things that I absolutely loved. The show is set in a Canadian village called Avonlea during the 1800s. The main character is a girl named Anne Shirley who gets accidentally adopted by Marilla. The main character is a girl named Anne Shirley who accidentally gets adopted by two siblings, Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert. I say accidentally because they originally wanted to adopt a boy to help them with their farm. However, when Matthew goes to pick up Anne from the train station, he realizes that she's a girl. After a lot of consideration and arguing, the siblings finally decide to keep Anne and raise her. The show explores topics such as growing up, love, racism, gender equality, and sexuality. Okay, to start off, I just want to say that I really liked Anne, and I really loved that she was a very fun and non-boring main character. I really loved that she was very talkative and not afraid to let her imagination run wild, even though a lot of people didn't like that about her, even though people may have thought that she was annoying, or they made fun of her for being an orphan, or they made fun of her for her freckles and her red hair. I really do appreciate the fact that she was just bold and outspoken and not afraid to be herself and stand up for what she believed, you know? I love that she wasn't so focused on being not like the other girls and stuff like that, and I love that she was just able to be herself without putting down other people. And I truly just think that she's just an amazing, wonderful main character who's beautiful on the inside and out. And Gilbert agrees with me.
I don't care where she's from. A cute girl is a cute girl.
Speaking of Gilbert, I just want to say that I also liked him like as a love interest as well. I personally think that he's just like the best guy in the show inside and out. And I am being very biased right now, okay? He's kind, he's heroic, and he's never afraid to stand up for Anne. Like, I just love that about him.
You know she'd stand up for any one of you, even in spite of what you're saying about her. She'd do what was right. That's who she is.
Anyway, watching both of the characters falling in love was probably like the main reason why I wanted to watch the show anyway, which is kind of like not great because the show isn't mainly about their relationship. It's more about like just Anne growing up as a whole and finding herself and like building relationships with other people besides Gilbert, but also at the same time with Gilbert. So it's like, it isn't a show that's specifically about their about romance and their relationship, and it definitely is like a very slow burn, but I do think that it was worth it. So also, I had a really hard time trying to understand what their relationship was supposed to be, because it seemed like it was supposed to be enemies to lovers, but then it seemed kind of like, I don't know, because sometimes they would be like mad at each other, but then other times they would be like kind of friends, but then they would start arguing because Anne wanted to be the best student, but Gilbert was the best student, and Anne wanted to. Another thing is, when he like in that one episode in season 3 when he's talking to Anne about like getting married to Winnie, and I guess it's implied that he's asking her if she likes him or if she sees a future with him, or if she wants him to get married to Winifred because she doesn't like him or whatever, but it's kind of like very like confusing, and I think it's supposed to be that way because it's like you're asking her if she wants to be with you, but you're not at the same time. I don't know, like it's kind of like, I don't know. Also, this isn't specifically about Anne and Gilbert, but I just want to say that I'm really happy that Ruby stopped liking Gilbert and that she started liking Moody, because I was wondering what was gonna happen to Anne's relationship with Ruby when like she found out that they liked each other, because Ruby has had a crush on Gilbert like the entire show up until like up until like the middle of season 3. So I was wondering like if they were gonna stop being friends and if Ruby was gonna hate her, but I guess I don't really have to worry about that anymore when she starts liking Moody. So also, I was so like shocked and upset when Anne found the letter that Gilbert wrote to her and then ripped it up and threw it out of the window. I was so upset. I was so upset. Like, he poured out his heart and soul into that letter. And I mean, like, she didn't know that, but still, like...
Not engaged, nor will I be, unless it's to you, Anne. My Anne with an E. It always has been, and always will be. You. With love. Gilbert. P.S. Thanks for the pen. Good luck at Queens.
Speaking of Diana, I would like to talk about Diana and Jerry's relationship. I thought they were really cute together, and I thought that it was going to be like a cute, like, forbidden love story where it starts out like it's near impossible for them to be together, but then at the end, like, they will be together. And towards the end of the show, Diana's parents allow her to go to college even though they don't want her to, because they want her to go to finishing school. So maybe like with their new like changed mindset, they would allow her to date Jerry, but I guess there wasn't really a chance to explore that and to see that because Diana literally broke his heart. Oh my gosh. Thinking about that scene makes me so upset. Anyway, the friendships in the show were kind of cute too. Specifically Anne and Diana, I loved seeing their like friendship, and from the beginning it was like it was kind of like tricky for them to be friends because Diana's family is more like upper class and like proper, and Anne's family is poor. Diana's parents probably didn't really like Anne because they thought that she was a bad influence, but then the day that Anne saved Diana's sister was like,
what's wrong with me, May? I don't know, she's choking and coughing and it's horrible. Croup, we need the doctor. Matthew! Matthew, come quick! Put this on you before you catch her dead. And Josephine is staying with us. She doesn't know what to do. She's never seen a cough like this. I have. Matthew, write Harmony and fetch the doctor. Minnie May is gravely ill. I'll go home with Diana.
I will see you there.
Oh, Anne! She's fearful sick. She can scarcely breathe. I need fast appetite before we go. Matthew will be back for hours. I will do everything I can until then. I've missed you so much. I've missed you too.
and I was so sad when they had that argument over Jerry because, well, they didn't have an argument over Jerry, but it was kind of because of Jerry. So basically, Jerry thinks that Diana is like ashamed of him because Jerry's kind of like not. Jerry is poor. Oh, I forgot to mention who Jerry was. So basically, Jerry is this like boy who Marilla and Matthew hired to work on their farm because Anne is a girl and because they didn't actually get the boy they wanted from the orphanage. Now they have a boy to work on the farm for them. So yeah, he's just their farm boy, and he's like French, and his family's like really poor, so they don't have enough money to send him to school. So he doesn't know how to read, doesn't know how to write. So at least compared to Diana, he's like not smart. When Diana and Jerry kind of start their relationship, I guess, they read that Jerry's like reading this like Frankenstein book, and then he gives it to Diana and she reads it. And since Diana's like smarter and has like education, she like understands like deeper like things about the book. So but Jerry kind of doesn't because he doesn't go to school. So they have this conversation about the book, and Jerry can tell that Diana kind of doesn't like talking to him. She mostly just wants to kiss him, which is kind of like not okay, and it makes him feel upset, and it makes him think that Diana's ashamed of him. So Jerry goes to Anne and asks her for advice, but then Anne kind of gets upset and confused because Diana never told her that she and Jerry she and Jerry were together. So it becomes a big argument for Diana and Anne.
Yesterday, Jerry came to talk to me about a girl who was being cruel, and I never in a million years did I think he was describing my truest friend. Who are you? I'm still me. I promise you, you should have never gotten involved with him. It's ridiculous.
Why is that?
You know why?
Yes, I do. Because Jerry told me that you make him feel common.
That's hardly my fault.
Isn't it?
Our differences are glaring, what you say. I was hoping to spare his feelings and simply let Paris' cousin natural end.
Is that what you're doing with me? Biding time until you can step into your preordained life full of architecture and fine cheese?
No.
With all the appropriate people?
Of course not.
And they stopped being friends for like a good episode and a half.
You were my friend, you would understand.
Oh, clearly you're not.
And you never were.
Well, true story. At last.
And then they finally become friends again. And yeah. Another thing that I really liked was when Diana and Ruby were, like, when they all became friends, because at first Ruby didn't really like Anne because okay, so Ruby doesn't like Anne because Gilbert talks to her on the first day of school. So like on the first day of school, like everyone is there except for Gilbert because he's like away, and then when he comes back he tries to talk to Anne, like because she's a new student, I guess.
I'm sorry if I was rude. I'm Anne.
I'm...
How's the district about work? Was it the wrong mouse?
They're pretty hard to miss.
Were they big?
So Ruby sees them talking because Ruby has a crush on Gilbert. Ruby sees them talking and then gets like upset and starts crying because they're talking.
I'm sorry if I was rude.
Is your Yapping better? We're both glad you're back home.
Why were you walking with that orphan girl? Why not?
She's a loon.
Says you. Hope you didn't get any asylum cooties. Uh-oh. There's one. Besides, I don't care where she's from. A cute girl is a cute girl.
I don't know what you think you were doing walking with Gilbert Blythe.
You can't talk to Gilbert Blythe. You can't even look at him. Well, see for yourself.
Ruby has liked him for 3 years. She has dibs. There, that nasty girl didn't know any better. Just like yesterday with all your tall tales.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk with him. It just happened.
Well, don't let it happen again.
I won't. I promise. I'll have nothing to do with him.
I'll try to smooth things over.
And basically all of the girls in the class are like friends, like they're all friends, and Anne is friends with Diana, so she kind of like joins the group, but everyone in the group is kind of like hostile towards her because she's an orphan. And then she talks about something that was really hard for her to deal with while she was in the orphanage, or no, not while she was in the orphanage. Well, she was adopted by this family who was really cruel to her, so she was talking about something that was really difficult for her to deal with. But I guess in Anne's mind, it's not really, like, it's more of like a natural thing to her, and it's not really that crazy or inappropriate as it is to other girls who hear about it. So while I'm editing this video, I'm like just now realizing how extremely awkward I'm being while trying to explain what's happening in this scene. So I'm gonna try my best to do that right now. So basically in season 1, episode 3, Diana is giving Anne a tour around the school on her, because it's her first day. So they go outside and look at like the different buildings. There's the main, like there's the building that they have school in, the building for the like really young kids, and then there's like a supply room. And when they get to the supply room, the teacher, Mr. Phillips, and an older girl in their school named Prissy are like in the room together. So they're, you know, doing something kind of sneaky, but like, and Diana's like, ew, that's kind of gross, like he's like old, and then, but like Anne is like, well, it's a pretty natural thing, like, you know, they're just, you know, so so yeah, like Anne just like explains like they're probably making a baby, but she's like very like chill and nonchalant about it. So then they go back to class starts, and then like Diana and the other girls are like whispering to each other about like what Anne told her before. And then during lunch, when Anne goes over to sit with them, all the girls are excited because they're like, we want to know everything, like what's going on between Prissy and Mr. Phillips, like what's happening. And then Anne tells them about everything she knows about what's going on, and like the girls are like giggling with each other. But Anne is like very like, Anne doesn't have experience being in school, and everything that she's known up to this point has been like normal because that's all she hasn't lived, like that's all like everything that she's known up to this point and everything that she's been through with her old family is like normal to her. So then it leads to this conversation.
Oh my.
Do tell, Anne. Well, in my experience with Mrs. Hammond and her drunken husband.
Drunken husband?
Oh my.
They're the people you lived with before you came to Green Gables. They were the last ones, yes.
And he was a drunkard?
Oh, indeed. Mr. Hammond always had his moonshine. And after he'd partaken, he would stomp around the house like Frankenstein's monster, and everybody would run. But nobody faster than Mrs. Hammond, because she knew he was going to make her.
Did she?
I believe she had to.
So let's just say all the girls except for Diana are kind of against Anne, and they don't like her. So Ruby happens to be a girl in the class, kind of falls into that group of not liking Anne. But then Ruby's house burns down. So then Ruby has to stay with Anne and the Cuthberts while they do like renovations and everything like that. And then that's when they finally become friends. And I really liked seeing them like writing stories, helping each other, and being like creative together and playing together. And then their trio kind of blossoms into more girls from their class, and then all of the girls from their class. But Josie kind of still doesn't like her, and she's a bully, but you know. Also, Cole is a boy in their class. Well, oh my gosh. A boy in their class named Cole kind of also joins the friend group, but it's mostly just Diana and Anne who befriend him, because he doesn't like to do things that the other boys in the class do. Like, he's more into like drawing instead of like playing sports, and he knows how to do hair. So everybody's like really mean to him because of that. And Anne and Diana befriend him because they realize that everybody's being mean to him. And Anne notices, well, like she feels for him because she knows what it's like to be treated that way. So she befriends him, and then because Diana and Anne are friends, they all become friends together. I also really like the relationship between Marilla, Matthew, and Anne. Like, you can tell that Marilla and Matthew are very like, they're not very comfortable with emotions and like physical contact and things like that. But you can really see them going from like being like that to being more open to emotions and love as they raise Anne, and as she becomes a part of their family, and as they learn more about her, they learn more about themselves, and they learn more about how they can be loving towards each other and towards Anne. And I really loved seeing that dynamic between all of them. Another like single character that I really liked was Miss Stacy. Stacy is like the second teacher in the show. Their first teacher, I think his name is like, the first teacher is Mr. Phillips, and there's like a whole thing with him that I'll explain later. But then later in the show, Miss Stacy gets hired, and like not nobody, but like most of like the parents and the people a part of the board and stuff like that, they don't like Miss Stacy because she wears pants and she doesn't wear corsets, and she has a less traditional like outlook on life than most of the mothers and the other people who were involved with the school. Everybody is just like really mean to her, and I feel like she really didn't deserve that. Like, she came into this new town not knowing anybody, just wanting to have a job and teach children and things like that, and she really didn't deserve the way that people were acting towards her.
Who cares if she's exciting, fresh, and fun?
Please, she sounds like a deodorant.
And I love that she inspired Anne to become a teacher. And yeah, one thing that I really wish did not happen was Mary's death. Okay, first of all, the amount of time that it's taking me to edit this video is kind of embarrassing, but that's okay. So I guess I should probably explain who Mary is, because I cut out a nice portion of the video because it's like really long right now. So basically, Mary is Bash's wife, and Bash is a character who Gilbert meets in season 2 episode 1 while he's working on a boat as a coal trimmer, I think. Yeah, so Bash is a character from Trinidad, which makes him the first black character in Anne with an E. And he and Gilbert are working on the boat together, so they become friends. And eventually, Gilbert decides to go back to Avonlea, so he takes Bash with him so that he can learn about like the farm and stuff, so that they can work on the farm together, basically. Later in the video, I explain like how Bash and Mary meet, but they meet in this place called like the Bog, which is like a place in Canada where I don't think it's not in Avonlea. It's like because they have to like go to Charlottetown in order to get to the Bog, so I'm pretty sure it might be in Charlottetown. But it's like this, it's basically the place where all of the black / African American, well, not American because they're Canadian, but you know, that's it's basically where all of the black / African Canadian people live because of like segregation and things like that happening in the 1800s. So yeah, but it's a very like poor place, and it's kind of like sketchy and like it's not like a nice place to live, but it's like a place where Bash goes to find community because he feels like he needs to, because like he lives in a place where people don't look anything like him. So he decides to go to the Bog one day, and eventually all of that leads to him meeting Mary. And yeah, so basically Bog, whoa. Bash gets like hurt or injured or whatever while they're in Avonlea, but because he's black, not a lot of doctors will help him. So Gilbert takes him to Charlottetown to see a doctor who he knows will help him. So when they get to the train, there's a white man and a black man who both work on the train. So they're both being like mean to Bash and Gilbert because Bash wants to get on the train with Gilbert, but they're both being mean and the black guy doesn't stand up for Bash. So, but then I'm pretty sure, I think it's Marilla and Mrs. Lind. They're both already on the train, so then they let them get on the train, and then like by doing this, something in their conversation makes the black man on the train who's like working like upset. So they get to Charlottetown, they go to the doctor, then Gilbert stays behind, Bash goes to the Bog. So he goes to the Bog, then the man from the train is there, and then they have like an argument, then the man punches Bash, and then he falls on the floor, he gets mud all over his clothes. The man helps him up, and he's like, "You're lucky I didn't hit you in the face," or something like that. So then, because his clothes are dirty, the man's like, "There's a laundry place at so-and-so, so-and-so." So he goes to the laundry place, and then there's a bunch of ladies there working, cleaning clothes. It's very hot, they're very sweaty, and that's where he meets Mary. So later in the show, Gilbert is like very like, not obsessed, but he's very like, he really wants to become a doctor, so he's studying very hard. So he kind of like forgets about his deal with Bash to work the farm together, and he kind of leaves him to do it by himself while he's studying. So Bash gets like upset, he goes back to the Bog. He kind of like stays in Mary's house for a little bit, they get to know each other. Then there's like this mysterious man in Mary's house who she's like hugging, and then he sees, and then he gets upset, then he runs away, and then Gilbert is like, "Where did Bash go?" Actually, that's not true. In the episode before Bash finds out that Mary has a mystery man in her house, Gilbert and Bash get into an argument because Gilbert tells Bash that he's planning on studying even harder than he has been already so that he can graduate school and go to college early. However, before this argument, Bash has been working the farm by himself, which has been difficult because he doesn't know a thing or two about farming. And their deal was that they were going to be working on it together. But now Gilbert is changing his plans, which obviously makes Bash really annoyed and upset. So when Gilbert leaves, Bash decides to write Gilbert a farewell letter and run away to the Bog. So then he goes to find him, and then he goes to Mary's house, and he's like, "Where did Bash go?" And she's like, "I don't know," like, you know. Then they go to find him, they're like, he hates the cold, so then they run to the laundry place because it's hot there, and they find him in the clothes, and they're like, he's drunk as a skunk, and then he's drunk underneath all the clothes in a basket because he thinks that Mary is already married even though he likes her and wants to be with her. So wait, no. When Gilbert goes to her house, Mary tells him that the man in her house was her son, but she was too ashamed to tell Bash that because she didn't know how he would react if he knew that she had a son outside of marriage. So then when they go and find him, they talk it out and everything, and then Bash asks him Bash asks Mary to marry him. So now they're getting married, yay, everything's happy. It's like the last episode of the show, they get married, and then there's like this little like romantic moment between Anne and Gilbert, and then it ends. And then season 3 starts and we see Bash and Mary move in with Gilbert and they have a baby. So they're all living together. It's like one big happy family. Everyone in the town is very involved. Everybody loves Mary and Bash and the baby, you know, everything like that. So one day, Elijah is Mary's son. So Elijah comes to their house in Avonlea. And then Mary's like very happy to see him. She's very excited. Like, yeah. And then he finds out that they have a baby, but they couldn't like write to him. They couldn't write him a letter because he moves around a lot and he's very like, you know, he's a bootlegger, so you know, he has to be smart about it. So he hears a baby crying and then he's like, he gets very shocked, he gets very upset, he gets very angry, he gets very mad. He's like, you all had a kid, like your shiny new baby. Then he gets like really drunk and he's like really mean to Mary. He's like, yeah, he's just really mean to Mary and she's like very upset. She's like, please calm down, like, oh my gosh, you're making me upset. She's like angrily chopping carrots and then she cuts her hand with the knife that she's chopping with, and then it's like, oh no, it's a cut, but it's just a cut. So then like everybody goes to sleep, whatever. They wake up in the morning to see that Elijah has like completely trashed Gilbert's dad's room. He took all the heirlooms and everything and escaped. So a little bit later in the show, Mary gets sick and we find out that she has an infection. I forgot what it's called, but I'll put it on the screen somewhere. She has this infection and the doctor from Charlottetown comes, checks her out, and he tells them about the infection that she has, which unfortunately is incurable at this specific point in time. They don't have antibiotics, they don't have any sort of anything that they can, you know, do to save her. So everybody's like trying to like enjoy the last few minutes that they have with her, and then she passes away. And I was so upset because it's like they literally just started their life together. They literally just got married. They just had their first newborn baby who's like under the age of 1, and she dies. Like, that's so sad. And it's like, it's low-key Elijah's fault, because if he wasn't like being mean to her and stuff like that, she wouldn't have been upset. She wouldn't have had to been angrily chopping the carrots, like, you know what I'm saying? But like, let's not point any fingers, like, let's not be mean. But I do kind of wish that Elijah got the chance to say goodbye to her. She really did care about him and she really did love him and she wanted the best for him. And it's sad that he like didn't care while she was alive, and it took her dying for him to realize that. So Mr. Phillips is the teacher at the school that everybody goes to in Avonlea. And Mr. Phillips is so mean. He's such a terrible teacher. He's literally grooming one of the students in his class. So there's this girl named Prissy, and she's like an older student. She's like around like 15, 16 maybe, and he's basically grooming her. He's like in love with him, and he, I guess, kind of is in love with her, but like not really. It's really like weird and uncomfortable because Mr. Phillips is like old and Prissy's like a kid. But I guess like during this like time period, it's like it's normal for those kind of relationships between people, but it's just uncomfortable. But eventually they do like get to the point where they're like about to get married, like they have the ceremony and everything. But then Prissy thankfully runs away before she can say I do. So part of the reason why she's running away is mostly because her mom wants her to be able to go to college, but Mr. Phillips, I think he gets like a job offer at like a different place. So he's like as my wife, you have to be my wife. You can't go to college. You can't do this. You can't do that. And then she's kind of like feeling like a little bit held back because she's like, I want to go to college. My mom wants me to go to college. What am I supposed to do? And she also sees Mr. Phillips like not being a very good person because he's not. Lastly, I just want to talk about 2 things that I kind of really didn't like about the show. Which, I mean, there aren't really many things that I didn't like. There are many characters that I didn't like. But there aren't really many things that I'm just like, oh, I hate this. And I don't think that the 2 things that I have on this list are really like things that are like, I actually hated them and didn't want them to happen. But it's more of like just things that I thought were like kind of sad, kind of unfortunate, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to start off kind of like on a happier note, like a less like serious thing, which would be Winifred. I'm pretty sure that Winifred is like one of like the original characters from like the book series. I'm pretty sure that she and Gilbert do actually have a relationship with each other in the book series, but like I don't know, like something about like when they first started like talking and things like that, like she seemed like a very like nice, sweet, like cool person. But it really seemed like Gilbert was trying to do all that to like make Anne jealous. Like when they're on the train together because Anne is going on like this mission to like figure out about like her ancestors and everyone in her family because she's an orphan. She doesn't know about her parents and things like that. So she needs Gilbert to be her chaperone on the train. Anne and Gilbert are going to Charlottetown together on the train, and then Anne and Cole are gonna take a boat to Nova Scotia so that she can go to the orphanage and figure out about her heritage and her family.
If it's any consolation, I don't mind being your escort.
Well, I mind. I can fend for myself. Do you even know what my quest is? I'm on a deeply meaningful personal journey, and I certainly don't need you.
Yes, I've taken notice of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll, see you at the train.
I've missed you so much!
So Gilbert goes back to the doctor he has an internship with this like doctor, and there's a lady who also works there named Winifred. Gilbert sees her and she's like pretty, whatever, so then he asks her to tea. So then they go to tea, they talk, whatever. And then when they go back, he's like, I think he has like a flower that was on the table when they went to tea. So then he's kind of like playing around with it. He's like really excited, but it seems like there's something about it that just gives, I'm trying to make you jealous, you know? Like, I don't know, there's something about it that just gives like, why do you think I was in a rebound relationship with Stella? Like, there was just something about it that was just giving like a rebound relationship. My crush doesn't like me, so I'm gonna find someone else. The last thing that I want to talk about is the school. They put like this like boarding school in Canada that's basically meant to solve the Indian problem. So there's a group of Native Canadians who live in Avonlea, and they create this school to kind of like, at first they kind of like just try to like convince them that it's a good place for them, but then eventually they end up just like stealing kids. So there's this character in the show named Caquette. She's a part of the Native Canadian group. So they make like these like sticks so that they can like play hockey, and they sell them to the kids in Canada. So it's like the first episode in season 3. All the guys are playing hockey and the girls are watching. Basically the man comes to where they are to give them the stick because someone ordered a new stick. Anne and Caquette meet, and then she's interested in writing a newspaper article about them. But the thing is, I guess the people in Canada feel like threatened by them, and they call them savages and heathens, and they don't like them. They put a school in Canada. It's meant to teach them English so that they can like, you know, live and work in Canada and like, you know, be more like familiar with the culture in Canada. So Anne goes to visit Caquette at the school, and we see like inside the school, it's like they literally, oh my gosh, I was so upset when I saw this, bro. They cut all their hair to like here, and then they're like basically brainwashing them. The goal is to get the kids like out of their original culture and to get them to be more similar to each other. And Caquette eventually does like escape, and then she gets back to her camp where all of her family is, but then unfortunately find her, and then they force her to come back. They're like, well, there's some more kids, so we should take them too. They kidnap the kids.
Okay, so the way that I explained it in the video is a bit messy, so I'm gonna try my best to explain the rest of the story with this voiceover. So after all the kids are taken away from their camp to the school, Caquette's parents decide to go to Anne's house to ask her and her family for help. Marilla is very like cautious around them, but after a lot of convincing and explaining, Marilla agrees with Matthew and Anne's decision to go along with them and help them. So Matthew and Anne take Caquette's parents to the school that all of the kids were taken to. When her parents knock on the door, Caquette doesn't answer. She just pokes her eyes out of the peephole and like basically tells them to go away. Then Anne and Matthew decide to try to knock on the door, and things kind of get a little bit violent because the dangerous men are back and they're kind of like threatening people and stuff. But after all of this, one of the nuns who works at the school basically just explains that she does not have the authority to release anybody from the school, so they're just gonna have to wait for the head guy in charge to come back. So Anne and Matthew decided they're gonna go back home, and Caquette's parents camp outside of the school. When the head guy in charge comes back, he basically tells the parents that the school is good. He believes that he's saving the Canadian kids by taking them away from their unique culture. They have like this phrase that goes, save the child, destroy the Indian, because they call them Indians even though they're not from India. But anyway, the head guy in charge tells them that they should leave before things get like more dangerous for their daughter. So they decide to leave, but they don't necessarily like leave the area completely. They set up camp a little bit farther away from the school, but close enough that they could probably still see the building. And Caquette is locked away in this like kind of like a dungeon, but it's like on the top floor of the school, because I guess this is her punishment for trying to escape. But from her window she can see her parents like setting up camp. But basically the season ends without them being able to reunite with each other, which I thought was really sad. And yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Before I actually officially end this video, I just want to say that I'm really sorry if this video contained a lot of rambling and like going on about like a bunch of different topics at the same time. I'm gonna try next time to be a little bit more organized with my explaining. But yeah, overall I really did like Anne with an E, and I just want to say that despite all of the unfortunate or annoying or bad things that happened in this show, I really liked it and I'm really thankful that I did watch it. I know that lots of people are upset that the show didn't get renewed for a season 4. Personally, I do think that it would be nice if we got a season 4. But also, one of the things that I really like about Anne with an E is that each season, not that I don't want the other seasons to exist, but each season ends with a good, nice like ending with closure that actually makes sense, that doesn't leave us guessing. Like obviously after watching season 1 I was like, well, I need to watch the next season, but it wasn't like I need to watch the next season because what the heck just happened, all the characters just randomly died but like came back to life and like became werewolf vampires, and now like I need season 2 because like that was so confusing. Like it actually made sense. Like each season alone and each season together made sense, and it went together so beautifully, and I'm just really thankful for that. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, Angel! I really hope that this is a good video and that no one gets like bothered by me talking, because like I got bothered by myself talking. Sorry. What?